Everyone. Uh, in this video, we'll talk about theory of biogenesis and abiogenesis. So first, the theory of abiogenesis. Okay, so the theory of abiogenesis is sometimes called spontaneous generation. So let's talk what is spontaneous generation. You know, now we know that which things is live things, which things is non-living things, but trust me, I mean, not very long ago, in second half of the 19th century, second half of the 19th century means like after the 1850. Okay, at that time, still many scientists and philosophers used to believe that living things can arise from non-living things. You can understand. You catch my point, right? Living things, they can arise from non-living things. This hypothesis is called spontaneous generation. Okay, so like even in at the beginning of 1800, okay, people commonly believed that toads, snakes, and mice, I mean this kind of small animals, can be born of moist soil. I mean, moist soil is a non-living thing. I mean, from the non-living moist soil, the living mice, snakes, toads are can be grown. Okay, so this is called spontaneous generation. But although many people used to believe that, there were also many people who don't used to believe it. I mean, they deny that living things cannot be arise from non-living things. So these people used to believe that living things come only from other pre-existing living things. So this theory is called biogenesis. Okay, so I think you understand what is biogenesis and abiogenesis. Okay, so at that time many people used to argue. I mean, the people who believe biogenesis, they try to explain it, defend it with their theories, and the people who used to believe biogenesis, they used to defend it uh, by their logic. But finally, one scientist whose name was Pasteur. He is a very famous scientist, and Pasteur has did lots of things for the microbiology. Okay, so you will learn about some of his good discoveries which benefited microbiology a lot later in some later lecture. Okay, so anyway, so Pasteur first experimentally proved that spontaneous generation, that is the theory of abiogenesis, is wrong. That means he proved that living things can come only from or rise only from pre-existing living things, and he proved it experimentally. So how he proved this experiment? So I mean, how he proved this theory? So in this slide, basically you will get I mean, these are the text or the description how he did the experiment. In the next slide, there is a picturesque description. So I'll try to explain this to you. Okay, so what he did. Okay, so we know that living things, okay, it can be big animals like us or very small organism like bacteria. Okay, all the living things, they need some food. Okay, so to disprove the spontaneous generation, what Pasteur did, he took a flask. Can you see this flask, the goose neck flask? I mean, this part, this looks like a goose neck, so that's why it is called goose neck flask. Basically, what he did, he take flasks, and uh, at first the neck was not like this. The neck was like actually it was long. Okay, just a string. So what he did, he took two different flasks. In one flask, and in both flasks, he put some liquid food. Okay, like you can say like the juice or something, some liquid food in both flasks. Okay, and then he bent the neck of the flask like this goose neck, and then one flask he heated one flask, and the another flask he just kept it as it is. So in one flask he heated it like this. So what happened when he heated the flask? definitely it get boiled and some steam came out from this neck. Then, okay, two flasks, one heated, another non-heated. Then he just kept them, okay, leave them in the, like say, in the working bench. So after a few days, what he observed that in case of both the flask, in this neck, around this neck, there was some debris there, some dust. Okay, and the heated in the heated flask, this liquid food was completely unchanged. I mean, it was exactly same like the when he started the experiment, the heated flask. But in case of the non-heated flask, the color of this liquid food was changed. Okay, so from this experiment, he said that the theory of spontaneous generation is wrong. So how he could say that? What is the logic behind that? So now think. He took the flask, he put liquid food here, and he heated one flask. Okay, so what happened that when he heated this flask, the microorganisms which were present there, they died because of the heat. Okay, and as the so now the pre-existing microorganisms in this liquid died, but like microorganisms can come from the air and enter here, right? It is also possible. But now look at this neck, this neck of this flask. It is like this. Okay, so basically, if the design of the neck is like this, theoretically no bacteria can enter this flask. Why? Because bacteria are usually heavier, and bacteria cannot just fly in the air. Usually, in the air there are lots of dust, like dust, various small sand particles, dusty particles. So usually the bacteria, they get stick to those dust and they travel. Okay, but as the so those dusty particle along with the bacteria, they will try to travel through here and reach to this heated liquid food. But as the design of this neck is like this, and we know dust is usually what is lighter. They are lighter than air. So those dust along with the microorganisms, they will try to enter through here and pass here, but they cannot pass this space because they are heavier. So they will get stuck here. Okay, so that the uh, debris along with the bacteria, they will stuck here. So that's why there was a debris was seen around here, and as no bacteria could enter into the liquid food, no growth was possible, right? But what happened in case of the unheated flask? Okay, the debris was there. That means the bacteria wasn't able to enter from the air. But yes, still the color of the liquid food was changed. That means there was some pre-existing microorganisms on that liquid food which grow by time. Okay, so from this experiment, then he can say that microorganisms can organisms or living things can arise only from pre-existing living things, and thus by this Pasteur disproved the spontaneous generation. Okay, so that's all for this lecture. Okay, so in the next lecture, we'll learn something new, something exciting. Okay, so till then, take care.